Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tarnation TV. Tarnation TV, and of course, the Flat Out Racing Network. We'll get right to it. It's race number 10, season number 66. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. My name is Blaine Donovan, joined by Michael Norman and Seth Cole.
Yeah, I got caught Billy.
There you go. Hey, yeah, it's great to be back with the Simulcast as well. Had a couple of weeks where FRN was just doing the broadcasting solely, but great to have the Simulcast back here and partnering back up here with Blaine. And what better time to do it? I mean, man, we're right in the heart of playoff season now. 12 drivers last week locked themselves in, whether through race victories or top 12 in the point standings, to have a run in this 6-race playoff system, chance of claiming the title. Tonight, Michael, a lot of them looking at this as a must-win, because if you win tonight, you're advanced into the round of 8. You don't have to worry about next week.
Yeah, I mean, when the must-win situations are always the worst part. You know, when you go into a race knowing that you have to win on a track that's so unpredictable as Talladega, being able to win and then lock yourself into the next round is always a good feeling to have here. So it's going to be interesting to see who can put their car in victory lane tonight. But it would also be nice if I could see this full screen here instead of the qualifying order.
It would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
It's interesting, too. The 12 drivers coming into tonight, half of the playoff contenders have formerly won a championship, and quite a number of them have won multiple championships here in the Talladega Challenge Series. So we're 50-50 right now in there being a repeat champion or a first-time champion, and the first step takes place here tonight. Robert Breedlove ends up drawing the long straw in his 7th start in the season, gets his first pole of season 66. Bernie Mobbs, highest starting playoff driver, will start up alongside of him in 2nd place. Now, Bernie Mobbs and Brian Rawson are 2 drivers that come in tonight maybe looking for that must-win mentality. They sit at 500 points even, 36 points out of the points lead. They are the 2 lowest-seeded drivers in the standings, last 2 drivers to make their way in. So good starting track position for the 31 tonight, as here we go. The playoffs for season 66 have begun. Only seems fitting. 66 laps that we'll be seeing here tonight as well. And maybe, just maybe, one lucky driver will already advance into the round of 8 when the checkered flag is flying this evening.
Still in shock over the beginning. This is a dawn of a new era in the in RTG, and I'm sure you know exactly what I mean when I say that, because we miss her already.
Yeah, last week we saw Jessica Loreley make her final full-time start. Would have advanced into the playoffs, but spoke with RTG admins at the beginning of the season and said, hey, my last start's going to be the regular season finale. If I'm up inside of the top 12, move me out and move the next driver in. That was Brian Rawson. So Rawson gets to fight for a championship here, along with 11 other drivers. And how about this? We're gridlocked all the way through the field, side by side by side by side, all the way back through about, looks like maybe 10 rows deep. Now we see the surge on the back straightaway with that outside line, but no line was getting an advantage that whole first lap.
Not at first. Also do want to say shout out to Jessica. Hopefully she's having a very good and happy honeymoon.
You'll notice in the top right-hand of the screen there, the playoff drivers, all 12 of them, just their numbers across the top, just in case somebody's got a favorite driver. You'll know their number if it's up there. Of course, as the weeks go by, that list will get shorter.
Every 2 weeks.
And one of those numbers you see up there is the number 17 of Chuck McClure. Let's not forget, he was the first driver to lock himself into the playoffs, won the season opener. He would go on to win another race during the regular season. He and Joe DeSpirito, the only 2 drivers coming into these playoffs with multiple victories on the season. He also had good starting track position. Matter of fact, he's the one you see right there, diving to the inside line, and that Darrell Waltrip throwback, trying to lead that inside contingency to the front. I guarantee you he is in the same mode tonight he was back at race 1.
And as always, thanks everybody for watching. This is a simulcast, of course. It's on Tarnation TV's YouTube channel, as well as Flat Out Racing Network Live on YouTube. So however you decide to watch it, high fives. Long distance high fives. These guys are 3 wide. It took 4 laps.
It didn't take long. I think they kind of were waiting to see just how aggressive everybody was going to be, especially those playoff drivers, kind of figure out the tempo of the field. As we have a caution out. Oh, we've got trouble in the back over in the middle of 3 and 4, and 2 playoff drivers are in it. Brian Schilling in the 4, Josh Metallic in the 39.
I don't see a lot of damage, though, so they might be okay. Oh, more wrecking up here at the front. Glenn Harris.
Tri-oval.
He was in the front pack there near the lead.
Mark Paglia in the 28. Glenn Harris, as you said, there in the 8 car.
Hey, look, it's Cody Lummis actually racing a car that's not red.
So we had a wreck and then a follow-up.
Ooh,
Yeah.
bumper grab? I think it had to been off the 4.
Or maybe some checkup on the bottom. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Massive
Big one,
stack
yeah.
up.
It looks like the C39 may have just kind of hit the back end off the wall a little bit of side damage to the side. Maybe some slight aero damage for Josh, but I think he'll be okay.
Another of our playoff drivers was involved in that, but I don't think it much damage. That was the 24 of Joe DeSpirito. He was behind the 4 of Brian Schilling. And then Denny Carroll, another playoff driver, was able to just slip his way through in that silver bullet machine. Tell you what, the 71 of Dan Pantaleo did a great job of getting through that wreck as well. He kind of split the gap. And then, up off of 4, it looks like Paglia and Harris get together. You're in a 3-wide situation, and that's your bumper grab right there off the back of Rodney Sullins was Paglia. That was a massive hit into the inside wall for the 28.
That was a pretty awesome move. You mentioned the 71 of Pantaleo. I just went and got a view from his roof. Just heads up play, a little bit of a flip on the throttle, and drove right through both of those things.
And like the hard impact just on that view alone of the 28.
He was at 140 miles per hour when he hit, and that was hood first.
Yeah, he's got to be done.
Which car is that?
Back up the 28.
28 car of Paglia.
Oh, yeah.
And you mentioned, Michael, that was right up at the front of the field. Those drivers had crossed the stripe inside of the top 10 the previous time around. An unfortunate bumper grab gonna for sure have Paglia off the pace. Glenn Harris, jury's kind of out on him. I don't think he hit anything. He kind of went for a long slide. He's obviously going to lose track position, but he might be okay. Something else that's going to be kind of interesting, kind of fun to watch here during the course of these rounds, specifically the first and second round of the playoffs, is are playoff contenders going to be willing to give up track position to lead a lap here under these cautions, get that valuable bonus point? Because we've seen so many times, we could go back to last season. We ended up seeing a tie for the 8th position at the end of the first round of the playoffs, and then we end up seeing a tie for the 4th position after the second round of the playoffs. So it is not outside the realm of possibility that that one single point for a lap led could be a difference maker into whether you're moving on to the next round of the playoffs or not.
Just up on the screen there now. Upcoming Tarnation TV broadcasts. We're back in full swing after the holiday, of course. ASR on Sunday. We will be back at Maverick on Tuesday at Phoenix. We'll be back here next week with Flat Out Racing calling the thing, of course. And then SMO on the 16th of November, their season finale at Homestead. That'll be cool. SMO. We don't do a whole lot of broadcasting for SMO, but it's always some great time with those guys. So come on down if you want to drive in circles or in Florida. They're doing that.
Yeah, I can say from personal experience, I've been a part of the Monday night league over there at SMO. We've had some really, really good races, some really interesting tracks as well.
Yeah.
Ended up running one just this past Monday night that I had never heard of before. I
couldn't even
think it
pronounce
used to be like a go-kart track of some kind. Hokkaido, I think is what it was called, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Josh too will send me the link. And
Josh 2?
Yes, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
He will. He'll send me the link to come out and race on Mondays, but Mondays at work are a little bit busier, so sometimes I'm just kind of in a coma on the couch. But it's like I haven't actually put the steering wheel on the front of the desk in a long time. I'm talking months, just because of all the broadcasting that goes on. That's the obligation, and then it's not like there's any shortage of leagues. I mean, we're here on Thursday with RTG, but they operate, I think 3 or 4 races, or 3 or 4 different series every week.
Yeah,
What are the other ones? It's Bare Bones on Monday, and then...
They've got Bare Bones on Monday.
Aero.
They do an iRacing thing on Tuesdays.
Oh, yes.
Wednesdays is their Aero 88 series, which they've got 4 races left to go in that one. And then, of course, Thursday nights here, the Talladega Challenge series.
They've got them all synced up pretty good. So
Yes,
they
they
end
do.
at the same time, yeah. Beginning of lap 8, we are coming to.
Usually take about, 2-week break?
Roughly
in
that.
Seasons?
Depends on if they end up having an all-star race in between. Then sometimes it's 3 weeks. We got a car around
Oh,
there.
there's one already,
on the front
yeah.
straightaway. That's, I think, the 28 of Paglia again. No caution going to come out for it, though.
Back of the field, that's why.
Your top 3 up here at the front all stayed out under this caution. Don Pantaleo, Robert Breedlove, and Denny Carroll, who now is the highest ranked of the playoff contenders. As soon as I say that, Bernie Mobbs in that outside line is going to surge ahead. There's Jeremy Jeffries right there as well in the 1. Did not have a great start to the first half of the regular season coming into this season as the defending champion, but he was able to find victory lane, was able to garner the points down the home stretch. Comes into tonight's race, the 10th seed of the 12 playoff drivers, but he's at least made his way into the postseason. Now let's see if he can defend that title from 1 season ago.
Just focused on Bernie Mobbs right there. You can see some stats I pulled. 11th position after the regular season was completed. After 9 races, average of 18th. I typed that in wrong. His finishing, yeah, that's right. Average finish position after 9 races is 18th place. He had some top 5s. I think he had 2 top 10s, yeah. Couple of times. The best finish is 5th, worst finish is 30th. That's what affects the average. You can finish 5th a couple of times, but unfortunately he had a couple of bad races too, and that's why that average sort of lands at the 18th position, because there's a lot of cars out here. Do we have to do Lotto tonight? Because I noticed it is a full house. Or not Lotto, sorry. Do we have to do
knockout?
A knockout qualifying session?
I don't believe so.
Right, I always wonder that when there's a full house that, if they maybe have to go to that qualifying. How do they operate that? Everybody is locked in to a certain position and then the rest of the field has to qualify?
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, and I hope I'm getting this number correctly, I believe it's the top 25 in points are locked into the race. The other drivers, they have a secondary server. They have those drivers go over, and then the top drivers in that session end up making their way in to complete the field. We had 39 drivers take the green flag here tonight, so we didn't need to have knockout qualifying.
3 wide for the lead.
The third lane was coming. Keith Bynum saw it. So did Bernie Mobbs. They move up to try and get that momentum. And I think it kind of stifled the run in both that middle and that outside line. It allowed Dan Pantaleo to be able to edge out ahead Denny Carroll trying to do the same. Now they've got themselves organized in that second and third lane. We'll see if they can make forward progress again. Breedlove leaving that second groove, and then Bernie Mobbs up there and that Jeff Burton throwback leading the third line. By the way, we ended up seeing that first wreck over in 3 and 4. Two of the playoff drivers involved in that, Josh Metallic and Brian Schilling. They are the last two cars in that middle line right there. Craig Hagley. What a save by Hagley.
Wow.
How in the world is that car still going straight, and how are we still green?
Yikes.
Probably a lot
unreal.
of skill with a little help of server.
I mean, that's a wreck. That's a car sideways in the corner going up to the wall. By all accounts, that car was wrecked.
And you forgot one more thing from the front row almost. He was like third car in. Take another look at it here. Yeah, they're like, he's third when this happens.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane.
We may look back at that as save of the year a few weeks from tonight. Gracious.
Yeah, door bang. The thing went. It almost looked like it steered directly.
Oh, it almost happened again up here too. Look at the front here. It seems to be all like jumbled up. As you can see, by the way, Seth, the 39 car is still up here.
Yeah, as I was going to mention before we had that incredible save by Hagley, both Josh Metallic and Brian Schilling have been able to make their way forward. Looks like they are good to go, still up to speed, still competitive.
Don't jinx them now.
They're currently inside of the top 15.
Commentator's curse. We're talking about them right now. Now watch them blow up.
If the commentator's curse was going to affect everyone we talked about, there wouldn't be a single car finishing these races.
Well, there's some cars in this field that we don't talk about.
You know, you look in this field as well. I mentioned 39 drivers took the green flag. Only 12 are battling for the championship. That means there's 27 other drivers out here tonight. And I guarantee you, they want to win this race just as much as the playoffs drivers do. But they also could be 27 X factors as well into helping to push a playoff driver to a victory tonight, locking them into the round of 8. I kind of look up here at the front of this field. Second on the inside line, Ulysses Sandoval was a multi-time winner last season. Was up there in the hunt for the championship in the playoffs. Missed out in the playoffs this season. We know he's obviously got the speed and is able to run up front. Could he be somebody that either could push a playoff driver to a victory or pick up the victory tonight himself and put so much emphasis on points in next week's elimination race? Donnie Garrett right behind him. Same story for him. Donnie with a couple of top fives this season, 20th in points, but he's had some good performances. He's been in the conversation for a couple of victories during the course of the regular season as well. Brian Lovell right behind him. Brian had a good start to the season. Kind of tapered off as we got into the second half of the regular season towards the playoffs. And Bobby Farrell right behind him as well in that number 92. That's a lot of names up here. Well, we're going to be obviously focusing a lot on the playoff drivers, but there are a lot of names up here we cannot lose sight of that are still looking for their first wins on the season, and they'd be willing to get it just as easily in the playoffs as they would have in the first 10 regular season races.
The names that aren't in the playoffs, it's everybody who races here is amazing, so it's wild to see how you have to set that line, and some of the best guys in here aren't in the playoff chase.
A couple of former champions in that conversation that didn't advance into the playoffs. Bob Seminara, Richard Martin, more big names like Tim Nofsker. You mentioned Donnie Garrett as well. These are drivers that have been in the Final Four for the championships as well in previous seasons.
Question is, can they stay up there? And well, more importantly, the second guy in the outside lane, can they keep the Piper at bay?
Got playoff drivers lined up 1, 2, 3 in that middle line right now. McClure, Wesley, Jeremy Jeffries, all former champions of this series.
And
another former champion right behind them, and Richard Martin.
somebody who hasn't been at the front for a lot of these races in the past, you got Ulysses Sandoval up here as well. Cody Lama still a part of this pack somewhere? Or did he fall a little bit behind?
He might have fallen behind. I saw a couple of cars that were at the tail end of the pack. Bob Dixon, Mike Mangialardi, Billy Elliser, Dennis McCarthy, they've all lost touch with the pack. Like Cody Lamas and Andrew Miller. They're nose-to-tail tandeming here. Mark Paglia, who just got lapped, is trying to latch on to them. Right now, 32 drivers up in this lead pack.
Oh, so Cody Lama's not even in the main pack.
It's interesting, we saw Bernie Mobbs up there battling for the lead about 5-6 laps ago. Now he's mired back at the tail end of the pack in 23rd. Same deal for the 71 of Dan Pantaleo. Doesn't take much for your positioning to change for the better or for the worse at a super speedway. Just depends on the circumstances. As here comes another playoff driver leading the third line. The Alan Kulwicki throwback of Greg Palmer, 9th in the points coming into tonight.
He said Cool Wiki. There's no L in his name, as far as I remember.
I would Google it and make sure, my guy, because I'm pretty sure there is an L.
Alan Kulwicki.
Yeah, I think it's KUL, isn't it? I think it is.
I believe
you know
it
what?
is.
I could be 100% wrong, and I'm just making fun of the way you say it because it's Seth, and I always make fun of Seth.
you say Kulwicki.
Starting to see more and more drivers migrating down to the inside line. Grant Wesley just slotted in behind Bobby Farrell in front of Robert Breedlove. We're crossing the line here. Lap 20 on the board. Remember, we had 3 drivers that stayed out under that earlier caution, including the 41 of Denny Carroll and the 931 of Robert Breedlove. They're not that far away from when they're going to have to come to pit road here, somewhere in the next 1 to 2 laps. Everybody else, they can go another maybe 3 to 4 laps, but it kind of looked like when we saw Wesley dive to the bottom that maybe some of even those drivers are getting themselves prepared for possibly getting ready for a cycle of pit stops. And boy, I'll tell you what, these last few weeks, down the home stretch of the regular season, pit road played a major, major part into who advanced and who did not. A lot of drivers, a lot of big-name drivers, some drivers that actually did advance into the playoffs were hit with black flags, race-changing black flags during the course of those races. You can't afford that here tonight because you don't want to go into an elimination next week behind the 8 ball, behind that 8th and stands cut line, or even maybe in a must-win situation.
I was watching the broadcast there last week, and how Rodney was able to pull out the win, and the run to the checkered was a massive green flag run. And like you said, people getting burned on pit stops, but that's the great thing, especially under green. You know, that's where this thing is just the best sim ever. You know, you're always in control of your car in this game. And I always love those console games. Do you want to pit now? Yes or no? Say yes, it just puts you on a track and carries you down.
Yeah.
Like you can't mess that up. You can't, like, on a pit road here, especially at Talladega, you got 40 cars out there. I've driven past my pit stall before. Maybe it's too crowded, you can't get down, or you're just, brain cramp and you just drive right by it.
That's because you guys all like your immersion, okay? I mean, it's so much easier to not miss your pit stall when you're the only pit stall that you can see on pit road.
Oh, I see what you mean. You just you turn the graphics down so you can only see your own pit crew.
Yep.
I got all the pit stalls on, but I'm a coward. I've got a neon green pit stall, so that way it's not that difficult to see.
I'm gonna tell some of our NR curators that for Elite Grace, they're all gonna have to run neon green.
No, that is a horrible idea because there's some races that are racing with a guy named Allison Rodrigo, and he has a neon green pit stall. So whenever we race together, I sometimes went to his stall, and I'm like, why am I not being serviced?
You know what?
And then he comes along and says, "Why are you in my pit stall, bro?"
Exactly.
You know what you
just saw Robert Breedlove there getting lapped. Along with Robert Spring, Randy Waugh,
Luigi,
Denny Carroll, and I'm trying to remember who the other driver was. I believe it was Dan Pantaleo, they all were on pit road. Pantaleo's actually back down pit road, may have gotten hit with a speeding penalty.
Who are they lapping now?
That would have been Robert Spring in the 74 car.
The 3 wide up there? Some of these cars
21.
haven't pit yet. I think we saw cars pitting that were stayed out under that previous caution.
Yeah, 3 of them that had stayed out, and then 2 more came down pit road with them. So the 71, the 41, and the 931 absolutely needed to pit. The 21 and the 74 came down with them.
Angelardi and Dixon just hit pit road also.
I will say it does kind of suck that I don't have a little birdie in my ear telling me pit strategy.
Whoa!
Somebody was blinking up in
I think
there.
that was Chuck McClure. Disappeared, reappeared for a brief moment there. As soon as Jeremy and Grant got clear there of the 21 and the 41, they jump back down to the bottom. Chuck McClure is going to get down there. Rodney Sullivan's our winner from last week, kind of boxed out of getting down to that inside line.
What is 9 plus 10? 21?
I think we got some drivers pitting here. I'm seeing some radios lighting up.
Don't mind me, I'm just over here being a goofball.
You're always a ball of goof.
I'm a ball of floof.
Here they come.
And there they go.
Jeffries,
About a third of
McClure,
them,
Garrett,
yeah.
Farrell, Martin,
I'll tell you,
Ernie
it's
Mobbs,
It is-
Cy
the
Jones, and
pit
Milt
road-
Surratt.
The pit road may be a little bit wider, but it's still just as difficult to get on the pit road like that. I mean, you cannot turn your car or shift when you're coming in pit road that hot. If you any of that in your car is going to spin.
Yeah, you need to be in control because that's the thing. Once you start sliding, it's done.
You have your car pointed to the entrance to pit road where you want it, and hope to God that you get down to your speed.
Yeah, the pit road may be wider. That's not going to stop these drivers from being as aggressive as they possibly can on entry with the hot pitting.
Yeah, it's still 55 at that white line.
Oh, what a round!
no.
Keith Bynum just got spun off the nose of Jeff Crivello. He's going
No
to come
caution
back
yet.
up the track. We are still green. There is no oncoming traffic here as he's going to roll around. Hopefully he's got enough fuel to make another lap. As
I
the
was
rest of the
watching
field all hit pit road there. And
I was watching the guy at the end of pit road to see if the red flag was going to come out.
we're still green. Tim Nofsker had his right sides out into the grass. It's like Ron Hagelin in the 111. He got a black flag for speeding. We'll see him back on pit road. He was a part of the
Bynum is out of fuel.
first group. Oh, Jeremy Jeffries coming back in.
Bynum's at
Blaine.
a gas backstretch.
Oh, no, that's not good. Blaine, you should incorporate the Bad Boys theme song every time Seth says somebody has a black flag. Just let it play for like 10 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I do have the... of course, there's no... Obviously, there's no sound effect to it, but I can put the black flag up on the screen with a little animation. But yeah, I should have a background song going.
No, the Bad Boys background.
Or
theme song.
the sound effect at the beginning of every Law and Order episode.
Oh, yeah, the
That
bump,
thing.
bump.
The gavel coming down,
No, that one should be for like the final pit stop. If somebody gets a black in the final pit stop, the
Oh.
race defining pit
It
stop.
is over, yes. Congratulations, you're done.
Do we need to just do our own voiceover? Dun dun, you are done. Not the big surprise.
Well, Jeremy Jeffries, it's obviously too early to say, but he's in a bit of a hole right now. He had to come down pit road for that speeding penalty. He has returned to the track, still on the lead lap, but he is going to be mired way, way back. And he's going to need a caution to be able to get back into this thing. Ron Hagelin has also come down and served his penalty. And the battle now for the lead is going to take place with Chuck McClure and Grant Wesley side by side. Still a lot of your playoff drivers up in this lead group, including the 4 of Brian Schilling, the 38 of Rodney Sullins, Josh Metallic just back there as well in the 39. Greg Palmer just latched on to him. And then you got a second group that's been very patiently single file working their way up here. That includes Doug Hulick, Brian Lovell, and there's Denny Carroll and Randy Waugh, as well as Robert Breedlove. Remember, those three drivers all came to pit road together. They're off sequence from everyone else on fuel, but they did a great job on their outlap of being able to merge with the lead group. And then by the time everything cycled around, they're up here with the leaders and able to fight their way back into the top 10.
Yeah, you mentioned Hulick, and obviously I'm focused on him right now and leading that top line to the front. He was billed at 12th position on the last lap, and he's crossing the line right now to third.
The Pied Piper once again in the lead at Talladega.
Grant Wesley winning the regular season championship, so he had the consistency along with a checkered flag in those first 10 races, looking to carry that over here into the playoffs. Another former champion of the series. As a matter of fact, Grant ended up having a run where he won 3 championships in the span of 4 seasons. 2 of those were back-to-back. You mentioned about Keith Bynum running out of fuel in the back straightaway. Whoa, the 17 has disappeared again. From the second position, looks like it's settled out once more, but that's the second time we've seen him disappear, and he was all but ready to just go all the way to the outside line to get out of everybody's way. But tough break for Keith Bynum. Ended up seeing him get spun while they were trying to come to pit road. Had to call a tow as he ran out on the back straightaway, and it looks like he is done for the night. Unsurprisingly, the reason for retirement, no fuel for the 63.
Yeah. I was going to ask about that. It says no fuel. You can call a tow truck. Does it not fuel you?
He probably ended up retiring before the tow was complete.
Right, so he just got the tow to get off the track and then just decided to call it quits.
Yep.
Because I think they would still service your car, I believe, once the tow was complete. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely would.
But then he's thinking he's so far behind and might as well just call it a night, I guess.
So he's going to get credit for 39th position. After that cycle of pit stops, we have 34 drivers on the lead lap. And it looks like Tim Nofsker in the 088. I don't believe he got a black flag, but I did mention that he had his right sides out into the grass. He might have actually missed the commitment cone when he came down pit road and gotten a 30-second penalty, because he is currently running all the way back in the 33rd position. Jeremy Jeffries currently back in the 30th position. So a few drivers, as we said, Ron Hagelin as well, all having issues with pit road. And guess what? We got to come to pit road at least 2 more times to be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel.
Check out the 31 of Bernie Mobbs, leading so far has the fastest lap tonight. Check that number out.
2:02.939. I don't know what it is. It could be the fact that we are having upwards of 35-plus drivers every week, but
yeah,
we've remarked during the course of the season, we see high 202, sometimes even 203 mile per hour lap times, and these are lap times that we normally don't see. This could be also a combination of track and setup as well, but
202.939. That's crazy. And that's an average lap. You know, they do scrub off a little bit of speed in the corners. For 203, almost 202.9 to be an average lap is
crazy.
Wild to me. That's just, right. You're just right in that middle of there, and he's just getting pushed around. And the leader would probably never get a lap time like that, I wouldn't think.
No.
You need to be
that is all
pushed.
In the draft.
Yeah, pushed with draft, and They're
trying to do something there around the 5th, 6th position. That's Richard Martin, Bob Seminara, and playoff driver Joe DeSpirito all up on that top side. not finding much success. Now they're getting some help a little further back, jumping up there. Burning Mobs is on that top side. Same with Brian Lovell. Josh Metallic as well. We'll see if 6 cars can maybe fight against upwards of 12 cars on the inside line here. There obviously won't be nearly as much checkup in that outside line, so their corner speed might be a little bit better.
Just focused on Rodney Sellens there a little bit. Got his first win last week in race number 9. Of course, he has started all 9 races thus far in season 66. He's got 1 win with 3 top 5 finishes. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
and of course,
Rodney
he's in cahoots with Redline Performance Motorsports, sponsoring the broadcasting services. So thanks, y'all.
And for Rodney, it was nice to see him back in victory lane twofold. 1, because it advanced him up into the playoffs, but 2nd, it snapped a very lengthy winless streak for him. As a matter of fact, during the course of this past week, he messaged me, said, "Hey, do you remember the last race that I ended up winning?" And I had to honestly tell him, no, I don't remember what it was. So neither of us could remember. It was that long ago since he had been to victory lane here on Thursday nights.
And Rolling Thunder upgraded their website, so I'm wondering, they used to track all the stats. I'm guessing they lost all that stuff.
From what I know, I believe they still have the statistics. They just don't have it up on the website. I think they were still able to kind of salvage all of those stats. Sean Prime, I believe, has most of those statistics to hand. They just don't have them up on the website for us to be able to look back on. But I do believe that those stats still exist.
They're
That
out
makes
there
sense.
somewhere.
They're somewhere.
But yeah, like, it's hard to implement that into a new stat tracking system. But that's neat that if they were able to back it up, that's pretty awesome.
So right now, we've got a total of 21 drivers up here in this lead pack. Remember, at the end of next week, the first elimination race, 4 drivers will be eliminated. If you're looking for drivers that could be in danger currently after that first cycle of pit stops, the only driver right now would be that one of Jeremy Jeffries. All of the other drivers are up here in this lead group. There's also a name that I did not realize was not in the field here tonight, and that's another of our playoff contenders, that being Brian Rawson in the 6. He came in tonight 12th of the 12 playoff drivers, so with him not taking the green flag this evening, he will absolutely next week be in a must-win situation to advance into the round of 8.
So,
That's when you start becoming desperate.
yeah, so if of the 12 drivers that are in the playoffs, they do 2 races for each round. This race, is there any elimination that happens, or is it just you've got 2 chances to kind of...
2 chances to get in. So it's the, well, okay, McClure still having problems. Gracious, that's a 3rd time, and this time he's going to have to bail out and fall to the back. But to answer your question, yeah, it's the combination of this week and next week that will determine the 8 drivers that will move on. You can win this week or next week to lock in, but we do know that at least a minimum of 6 drivers will point their way into the next round at the conclusion of next week's elimination race.
So they'll track points in the first race of a round and the second race of a round, and then they kind of just go from a point total.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Unless we have a playoff driver win this week or next week.
Cool.
It's interesting, too, because most of the previous seasons here, we've ended up having anywhere from 8 to 9 regular season races. This season, we had the full 10-race regular season, and we've documented, it seemed like every single race, that so many drivers had difficulty establishing a sense of consistency. Now, as a playoff driver, you're being asked to be consistent for only 2 races to be able to advance. Well, Grant's going to come around, and he is going to lead his 11th lap of the night. That's going to tie him right now with Chuck McClure for most laps led. If he leads the next lap, he will be in possession of a very valuable bonus point for most laps led here this evening.
Yeah, McClure had to pull out a line because of the connection issue there, so he's back in 21st right now. And John Godfrey in 7-Eleven is leading that second pack.
Yeah, you bring up
With
John Godfrey.
little pack
I
there,
didn't
yeah.
realize he is a playoff driver as well that did not fare on the plus side from those green flag pit stops. So he and Jeremy Jeffries both in a critical spot right now.
A side-by-side racing up in the front, though, is also going to help slow that pack down a little bit, too.
Yeah, but will it slow them down by 15 seconds? I don't think so.
Keep an eye on it. We'll see what the interval is.
I think we've got some drivers coming to pit road again. More than likely, that group that came to pit road to start the last cycle that did not pit under that only caution we've had so far tonight. I would assume that Denny Carroll, Randy Waugh,
Yeah.
Robert
Headed to the
Breed
pits
loves those
now.
drivers. They'll be hitting pit road here momentarily.
Doubled up pit stops. That's an
Yeah.
interesting concept for this race.
There's a few little 3-packs running around out here too, and it looks like Elliser, Dixon, and Mangialardi just hit pit road.
Chris Elliott coming off of pit lane, along with Breedlove, Waugh, and Carroll.
Wah, Luigi. Wah, Luigi. Wah, Luigi. All right, that just randomly popped into my ADHD brain.
Yeah, you talked about last week, though, Blaine, and maybe one of the most unusual regular season finales that I've ever seen in a Super Speedway series. We ended up seeing the long green flag runs, the green flag pit stops, and the lead pack continued to shrink. We'd go from 20 cars down to 15 cars, down to 10 cars, and we only had a handful of drivers left in the conversation at the close of the thing. We're trending in that direction again here tonight. We continue to lose more and more drivers to these little pockets of packs here, and we're having about maybe 15 to 20 drivers in the lead pack. We may end up having only about half of that once this second pit stop cycle is complete.
There's Carroll, Waugh, and Elliott going a lap down, but they're
Ooh.
not damaged, so they'll be able to stick with these guys. It's neat to see a little bit of a breakup like that. You get these green flag pit stops, and it breaks the pack up, so that's always really cool.
And you heard that reaction from Michael. I think that was in regards to Denny Carroll with a quick move from the top down to the bottom. And that was an important move for him. Remember, he's a playoff driver, and going down to the inside line would have allowed him to try and get around the 9 and the 21 to be able to be in line for a lucky dog position should the caution have come out through those last couple of corners.
Oh, yeah, good call.
Garrett, McClure, Martin all on pit road. Oh, and Demar's going to overshoot his stall. That's going to cost him some valuable time. Andrew Miller, Cody Lamas, Cy Jones all coming in. You talked about all those little packs of 3. It looks like all of those packs of 3 are all coming to pit road together. To quote Finding Nemo, they all have exit buddies. A few more. Actually, more than a few.
Yep. So
Wesley
about 7 or 8.
Seminara. Man, look at the lockup there.
Perfect. Made it work, though.
Spirito, Sullins, Palmer, some other playoff drivers in this group coming down.
Ryan Schilling with that lap lead, being shown in first place.
Would be a very
Well,
valuable bonus point for him.
Nice to know that the little commentator's room is just always so close.
We did have another driver retire from the race. We didn't document it. Mark Paglia. Done for the
Well,
night.
I mean,
Josh
Black
Metallic
flag,
might be out of
Godfrey.
fuel.
black flag for Godfrey. That's not good.
And I think Metallic may have been running out of fuel there coming out of 4, but he's going to be able to make it to pit road along with Schilling, Hagley, and Hewlick. Another black flag just came through. Milt Surratt in the 80. Boy, the night has not gone well for the 7-Eleven of Godfrey. Had an issue on the first round of pit stops. The black flag here. 8th in points coming into tonight. He was a mainstay up inside of the top 5, top 6 in the regular season standings for a majority of the regular season. Obviously, with not having a victory. The bonus points reset him down to 8th in points coming tonight. That was the critical elimination spot here for this round of 12. He will more than likely be below said cut line going into next week.
No two leagues operate the same, and I love it because now you've got. I've never seen the 2 race rounds like that. That's kind of neat. Because even if you have a bad race, you know, like Godfrey, for instance, just having to serve a black flag late in a race like this, there's still next week before they start trimming those names off that list across the top there.
Whoa, we had
Look
some
at all
contact
these
back
cars.
there.
Yeah.
Garrett and
I don't
Palmer,
know
they
where
were
to
trying
go.
to split. I think it was Jeremy Jeffries, and when they completed the pass, they all converged, wanting the same piece of real estate.
And everybody's going different speeds. Heading to the pits, coming out of the pits. Great race.
Absolutely. I mean, these cars coming out of pit road here. Grant Wesley still the Pied Piper, but look who's right behind him.
But here's going to be the question here. Most of these drivers came to pit road somewhere around 20 to 21 laps to go. That's for the drivers that were some of the last ones to pit lane. Honestly, in my mind, I don't think that anybody can make it the rest of the way on fuel unless they do some major hardcore saving. But would there be any of those drivers that were the last to pit road at maybe around 20 to go that could save enough to get to the end while everybody else comes down pit road to take on a splash? Could somebody clutch during the course of this final run, provided they all remain green flag laps?
Well, that won't
and
be
maybe
Grant
be able to
Wesley.
snipe a victory.
With him leading, I don't think he'll be able to do that
No.
unless he backs the pace
No
down.
chance.
And well, what you guys don't understand is you could, theoretically, you could, as the leader, back the pace down. The problem is not everybody will do that.
Correct.
You know, think about the time back to me and Anthony when we were leading that. I don't remember if it was a league race or if it was like the Daytona 500 special event. But when we didn't think we were going to make the end, we, instead of trying to come down pit road, we just kind of backed the pace down a little bit. Nobody else did. We ended up losing the pack because of it, because not a lot of other cars did, but we ended up making it without having to pit.
But to your point as well, you know, Grant could try backing the pace down here and trying to back the rest of the drivers behind him, back their pace down, but there's a bunch of drivers, I would feel, as well, that would be thinking, we're going to have to come to pit road anyway. We're losing time on the track going this speed, and I think you would see them either dive to the outside or more than likely down to the inside line and fly on by. So I think Grant's kind of boxed in right now. The only thing he can do is enjoy the view out in front and hope that at some point, when he comes around through the tri-oval, he looks up there at the flag stand, sees a yellow flag flying, to be able to come down, top off the fuel tank, and be good to go the rest of the way.
On board right now at the 77, Donnie Garrett.
Bill Sirach coming back down pit road.
Yeah, he's actually just now serving his black flag penalty, so he went the furthest you could go before the officials would disqualify you. He was doing that in the hopes the yellow flag would come out and he would be able to stay only one lap down. He's now going to lose a second lap to the leaders having to do this pass through.
I think they'll let you do 3 laps before they pull the pin, right?
I believe it is, yes. Which we ended up having, I believe it was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Donnie Garrett ended up going 1 lap too far and ended up getting disqualified in that race.
Two cars did, actually.
Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to remember who the other one was.
Yeah, I don't remember who the other one was either.
Well, the top 5, 6, 7, they're content to ride, but back around the 9th position, they want to race. Randy Waugh,
Luigi.
Bobby, make that Brian Lovell, Denny Carroll, Jeremy Jeffries down there as well. Now Jeremy, he's fighting to get himself up here into the free pass position. Tim Knopfsker is currently the first car scored 1 lap down. He's that 0.88 just up above Jeremy Jeffries. Jeremy, currently the second car 1 lap down. They're another duo that are clamoring, hoping for a caution. We're very quickly building up a rather large list of drivers that would not mind seeing a caution come out here at some point, granted that they aren't the cause for it.
You got to remember when you talk about the 21 of Randy Waluigi, you got to shout out Corey. Corey's probably watching Dad either on Flat Out or Tarnation tonight. So, hey, what's happening, Corey? Roll Tide.
Yeah, say, who are your college football teams?
I don't have a college football team.
My college football team knowledge is just looking at the cool paint jobs on these cars.
Pretty much. Same.
That's fair. Totally fair.
I'm not watching the Blue Jays lose to the Dodgers. I'm watching hockey.
So we did a pretty good job there on that cycle of pit stops of keeping the numbers in this lead pack. We've got 19 drivers on the lead lap in this group, from now new race leader Bob Seminara back to the 4 of Brian Schilling. Got some lap cars intermingled through this group as well, including Tim Knopfsker, Jeremy Jeffries. I believe Jeff Crivello might be in this group as well. Yes, he is, as well as Robert Spring.
Jeff Crivello DeVille.
Ooh, Rodney Sullins with a move up there to the outside line in front of Grant Wesley. He's going to go for the race lead. Nothing like a race victory to build your confidence back up. And Rodney trying to make a move, go back-to-back, win the last race of the regular season, first race of the playoffs, advance into the round of 8.
Lead here, he might actually get it.
Gonna be close. Who gets the lap led? It's gonna be the 38. That'll be his second lap led on the night.
Bob Seminara right beside him. I haven't played the music in a while, but Shadows on Fire, I think it was his nephew Quentin. Played some of the tunes on the broadcast. Seminara, it's like, hey man, like, what'd you think about playing? Hey, if you got music you want to play, let's do it. Send the tunes over, the links, the Bandcamp, the Spotify, whatever. We can get a hold of the music and definitely play it on the broadcast. It's a lot easier to get around copyright strikes when you're talking about independent musicians.
Absolutely.
As you heard in the loop starting this race off, that's just my buddy Jono. The countdown screen before the race started, just, you know, jamming, messing around, putting stuff together. I said, can you make me a loop? And he sent me that, and it's glorious. He sent me a few of them. I change it up every once in a while.
Much like the first lap of this race, we're gridlocked again.
Mm-hmm.
Both the inside and the outside lines able to get the momentum, but Rodney with a little extra push, a little extra oomph for that middle line down the back straightaway. Gonna clear for the race lead.
It's a secondary
but
pack.
Can the outside lane recover?
That secondary pack led by Bob Dixon, you can, on the other, when we're following the main pack, you can see these guys off in the distance, but they're not catching them because these guys are just staying in line.
Nah, this is the real front pack right here.
Yeah. It's just neat to see how it gets broken up a little bit.
Yeah, they're running lap times about maybe a half second quicker than the lead group right now, talking about that group of 7 up ahead of them.
Because they're all running, they're just praying for a caution.
I was going to say, we could add 7 more names to the please let us have a caution list.
The 09 is pitting.
Yeah, we know these guys can't make it on fuel. It's just a matter of how long do you want to wait. Some are going to have to come down and take on a half can of fuel, I believe, some of those early pitters. Maybe even Denny Carroll, Robert Breedlove, some of those drivers might have to take on a full can. They may be that short. And then there's others that went the longest on that last cycle of pit stops that might be able to come down and get away with a splash of fuel, but it's just a matter of how much further are you willing to go.
Update on Milt Surratt. He ended up retiring about 9 laps ago after that penalty served on that speeding. I think it was a speeding call.
Tough break for him. He'll join Mark Paglia, Keith Bynum in the garage area. More drivers onto pit road, Breedlove and Pantaleo. So they are some of those off-sequence drivers I was talking about. I guarantee you, beginning of this race, when they elected to stay out under our only caution, they did not expect that this race was going to go caution-free from that point on. They were fully banking on getting a timely yellow to get them back on the same fuel window as everybody else and maybe maintain their track position in the process. It has not been the case.
So far here tonight, 1 yellow flag. That's all we've had. There's Dixon and Elliser and Mangialardi headed to the pits.
It's hard
All
to
right.
tell, too, for some of these drivers if they're pitting absolutely out of necessity or if they're pitting just with a window open. I mean, those pit stops right there, of that 3 that came to pit road, they'd be able to come down and just put a half can of fuel in.
I want to know what's happened to the outside lane.
I think everybody is just
They're
trying to
getting
get
ready.
down to the bottom.
Yeah, they're getting ready to pit.
A fight to the inside line.
Again, I thought they would have had somewhat of enough to make it.
No, they right now I've got them, most of them, 1 to 2 laps short. Some could even be 3 laps short, including Grant Wesley, who led a good portion of this run. Rodney Stones has led a bunch as well. Here comes the 21, the 44, the 41. We know they couldn't make it. Bernie Mobbs is in as well in the 31. Big lockup for him.
Again, it's just so hard. You want to turn your car and point it as you're coming down, but you just can't when you're on the brakes.
And this is the money stop, right? You make a mistake here, you get a black flag. There's not even enough laps to be able to mount a comeback. So if you screw up here on this pit stop, you could be throwing away not only just a win, but maybe a good solid points night. And that's something, if you're one of these playoff drivers, you cannot afford going into an elimination race next week.
Points are so tight too, right? Like, even if you lose 5 or 6, it could be a 3-way tie.
And the tough thing as well is, let's just say, for instance, in the case of Jeremy Jeffries here tonight, or John Godfrey, who have had issues on pit road, you know, you want to gain positions or points on the drivers ahead of you in the standings going into next week. Normally, those drivers that you're trying to gain on usually find yourself running around most of the race. How in the world are you going to gain 10 points if you're running only 1 position away from that guy the entirety of the event? It makes it so difficult
I see
when you
more
box yourself
radios.
into those positions.
More radios lighting up.
Do we see any of our front runners come down pit road here?
Splash of gas, right? That's all you need. Splash and go. Caution!
Yep.
Yellow flag's out, and I believe it's back here. Robert Spring.
There's more wrecking.
Andrew Miller as well.
Death, this could... This could be it right here.
This
They
could
just
be
crossed
it.
the line for 64.
Rodney just brought them to the yellow. Race
Sure.
could be over. The question is, though,
Make it.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're asking about what, 2.5 laps to make it here under pacing? If they
Interesting. Who are our
absolutely
top
had
three
to
right now?
pit, what's that?
Who are our top 3 right now? That's across the line.
Scoring is showing Sullen, Seminara, Despirito.
Oh, I hear no engines.
No. I mean,
It's
if
like
we
silent,
were
yeah.
absolutely having to pit this next time by for these drivers, I don't know if you can make it 2.5 laps here under
You are
pacing.
going to try.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you are. You're not pitting now.
It was I was just looking at the replay. It's the 8. It's that Who's the 8?
Glenn Harris.
Is it Yeah, Harris actually had a connection issue. The car disappeared and then swept sideways. It bounced Miller into Lamas, and that's what brought out the yellow.
Imagine just minding your own business in a whole separate pack, and then that happens.
And it's a connection error, right?
I believe that was the tail end of this lead pack. They had just gotten lapped.
It's just too bad we've had only the one yellow until that one. And
I just realized CSC 64. You've got 2 more laps now.
That's
going to seem like an eternity.
But you can't pit, right? You cannot come to pit road here because you're under caution. You're going to give up so many spots. You're just basically just going to hope that you have enough fuel pressure to get around this final over 5 miles or run out of fuel trying.
This is bringing back Dale Earnhardt Jr. 2003 Busch Series vibes. I don't know if you remember that race.
I don't.
Basically, it was going to be a fuel mileage race. A caution came out with the final 3 laps, and Jr., who was so close to running out of gas, had to coast 3 laps under caution and make it to the end without running out.
Well, you mentioned Dale Jr. His father is the livery featured here on this Black Rifle Coffee number 38, the Intimidator scheme on Rodney Sullivan's Chevrolet Camaro. And
what would you call intimidating coffee?
Oh boy,
company that calls himself Black Rifle. I've got the camera on the 38, and he is barely, like, he's clutching so hard, like you said. He's only putting that thing up to like 1,500 RPM, I think. It's just like the audience can hear it live. It's just going, like he's barely giving that thing any throttle. So I could, like, go back to what you guys were saying before. There's probably no way these guys are going to pit. They are going to limp these things around here.
Yeah, one of the things that I wish we had the capability of with looking inside of the race car is seeing what the fuel pressure looks like for these drivers, because that would give us an indication of just how close they are to making it or not making it.
Yes, but you got to figure out which one is the...
It'd be the bottom left dial.
Yeah,
right now it's showing for Sullins he's at 9 fuel pressure, which would definitely be enough to make it another lap. The question is, though, are we seeing accurate data? Because if I remember correctly, I was told that what we end up seeing on our screen is what the game relates to the amount of miles per hour that they're turning. It's not necessarily the exact numbers of what the other drivers are seeing, for the main reason that a spectator cannot basically tell another driver what's going on with the driver that they're battling. They can't feed that information to them.
Right, so the TAC is about the only thing that's probably real on this dash right now, yeah.
Because I guarantee you, Rodney right now, running at 70 miles per hour, is not pulling 190 water temperature.
No,
I don't think these guys should be riding on the banking either. They should be on the apron. Just
yeah,
in case
I'm surprised.
The fuel gets away from that cutoff. I mean, some drivers
to your point, a couple of them are.
Well, and if you're down on as close as you can to the grass there, it's just a little bit less of a drive around the track too, right?
You want to talk about immersion, right?
Yep, that's it.
By immersion.
Like, if this was Jeffrey Elliott, he'd be driving down there on the lawn to take the shortest way possible. I've seen him do it. To take the shortest way possible around these tracks and somehow get these cars to the end.
I mean, think about what's at stake right here. Rodney Sullivan's looking to advance his way into the round of 8. He'd go into next week worry-free. We got a car out of fuel further back. Jeremy Jeffries is out of fuel.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I'm riding along. I'm in the cockpit with Sullins, just listening to see if it'll actually... Because if he runs out of fuel, it'll go pretty quiet in here.
Bad night goes worse for Jeremy Jeffries, the defending champion. He may be going into next week in a must-win. He was slated to finish 20th, a lap down. He's going to fall more than likely down somewhere around 29th, maybe 30th position. As here comes the tough part of Talladega, right? If this was Daytona, we just got a few hundred feet to the center of the tri-oval. Nope, add an extra few hundred feet down, almost to the entrance of turn 1. Do you have enough fuel to get to that final little length of racetrack?
Man, this is the final lap, but this is an eternity when you're trying to conserve fuel.
I think he's going to be okay. I think Rodney's going to make it. And most everybody else is as well. How about that? Back-to-back regular season finale. First race of the playoffs. Rodney Sullins is going to the round of 8.
Wow, they're giving it to him. Congratulations, Rodney. He just got beat up for that win.
Yeah, he did.
Got mugged.
Yep. He might need a push, boys, to do a burnout.
Oh, by the way, that birdie I told you that I miss having in my ear is watching, and she says hi.
What's up, Jessica?
Hello to Jess.
Engine valve on Jeremy Jeffrey's car is what he's being billed as for
Could he have
tire.
blown up? So maybe he
Did
blew up,
Did
Seth.
he
It
blow
says
up?
valve.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine? Oh, no.
Under
I wouldn't know what's
pacing?
worse. What's worse, blowing up under pacing or blowing up under green flag?
Pacing,
Yeah.
especially in this situation, because he's a playoff contender and now he's got no point. Like, he's got points.
At least
but not as
under
much as he
green,
would
you
have.
can blame it on, engine revving or something. Under pacing, if it just randomly blows up, that's a gut punch.
Yeah. What a
Well,
great
Rodney-
race. Even
Rodney's
down to
gonna
a yellow
advance.
flag, you know.
But you talked about the points being close. Look at all these other playoff drivers finishing up inside of the top 10, top 15.
Will he have
Spirito
enough-
3rd, McClure 5th, Metallic 8th, Wesley 9th, Palmer 11th, Schilling 13th. I mean, it's going to be a dogfight next week.
Does he have enough gas to do a burnout?
He did the easy way, put it in the lawn.
I don't hear nothing, so maybe he's out of gas.
Yeah, he's out. He might be. No, he's
Oh, yeah, he
okay.
just threw-
He had
well,
a full
no.
clutch, yeah.
No, he's good. Oh no, that caution came out with them taking 3 to go. He was able to make it 2.5 laps there under pace, and he's got enough to come around here to do a little bit of burnouts.
I wish we could see him, though. TV2.
I'm going to be very interested to ask him and see if he was planning on trying to make it the rest of the way, or if he absolutely was going to have to pit, because
Well, that's what you guys are going to have to do. You
Yeah,
guys
I mean,
can ask your questions.
this is a lot of fuel he was obviously saving, but this is a lot of fuel that he's using as well for the celebration. So I don't
feel
know.
like the caution helped. He was clutching big, so you know that he's got just a little bit.
But that is a massive victory for Rodney Sullins tonight. Last man to win in the regular season, first man to win here in the playoffs, and he will advance to the round of 8. He'll await his 7 other competitors that'll get determined in next week's first elimination race of the postseason. They say we dial up our podium finishers here tonight. 2 of them playoff contenders. Let's get a hold of the 3rd place finisher. That would be Joe DeSpirito. Hey Joe, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're doing great, but we've got a lot of question marks about this race because maybe one of the strangest openings to a playoffs that we've ever seen. Had that early caution, you guys go green from that point on, and then we end up seeing the caution come out when you guys might have to think about coming down pit road for a splash. So let's get the biggest question out of the way first. You're a playoff contender, a multi-time winner during the regular season. Was there any thought in your mind of maybe seeing, if this thing had gone green to the end, see if you had enough fuel to be able to stretch it, or were your hands tied? Were you absolutely going to have to make the dive to pit lane in those final 2 laps?
Yeah, I had to pit. I was running low. There was probably a bunch of people that were in a better position further back in the pack that could clutch it a little bit, or just let off the gas more. We were kind of up front there, so it was pedal to the floor all the way through, and I was probably a lap and a half short. So that caution was pretty nice there, but yeah, it was a tough decision to make, but luckily that caution saved us.
Obviously coming in tonight, as I mentioned, you were the number 4 seed, so you were well above the cut line, 8th in the standings. A podium finish here tonight gives you a little bit of breathing space going into next week. So, obviously, I feel like the mentality for all 12 of the playoff drivers here tonight was maybe approach this race as a must-win, because that's a golden ticket into the round of 8. But if you can't get that checkered flag, bring it home at least with a solid run. Was that basically the mentality for you here tonight? Do you think that kind of might have been a universal feel for all of the postseason contenders?
Yeah, usually the first round it's kind of low key. People are just trying to stay in line and not make any crazy moves. And that's kind of how it felt tonight. So yeah, that's the way it was. Nothing too aggressive tonight. Just ride around and avoid the wrecks. And I don't know if you guys saw it on your end, but there was a bunch of server warps, and that was kind of freaking everybody out. But just a cautious, nice top 5.
We did indeed catch that. Obviously, some good momentum here in this first round. You mentioned that tonight kind of having the thought process of ride around, get some points. Is it same deal next week, or does the strategy change a little bit now with this podium finish to kick off this round of 12?
Maybe a little mixture of a little bit more aggressive, maybe. I've got a good cushion back to 8th place, so I'm looking at it right now. So I could probably be a little more aggressive, but you're going to see a lot of guys doing similar stuff next week, just riding around, trying to make it to the next round. And that's how this playoff format is. You just kind of just got to survive each round, and then as it gets closer to the end, people start making some big moves.
Well, Joe, a great run for you here tonight in the first playoff race, podium finish to start out the postseason and put you in good positioning above that cut line going into the elimination race next week. Best of luck in that. Congrats on a great run here tonight. And before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
Thanks, guys. As always, I want to thank everybody at RTG, all the admins on Thursday night, and Prime, and all the owners. I want to thank you guys at FRN, always doing a great job as usual. Some of the sponsors of the series: Race LM, Sullins Paints, Redline Performance Motorsports. I want to thank my team, Mobs Motors, and I want to thank everybody watching at home, Uncle T, LC, Dan, and everybody at work. And that's all. Thanks, guys.
Joe Spirito, 3rd place here tonight in the first race of the playoffs, and he'll look to ride this momentum into next week. So he looks to lock himself up a spot in the round of 8. Congratulations on a great run here tonight, Joe. Best of luck next week.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
See if we can now get a hold of the driver that brings it home. 2nd place, non-playoff driver. Let's get a hold of Bob Seminara. Hey, Bob, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Wow, crazy race here tonight. A little bit of everything, but it seemed like the longer the race went on, the bigger the list got of drivers that were really wanting to see a caution flag come out, obviously for different circumstances. But we just heard moments ago there from Joe, didn't seem like really anybody was going to be able to make it on fuel. You got the caution you needed to be able to get to the end, but did you have any kind of a strategy in place if we had made that final pit stop in the final couple of laps to be able to get out in front and be able to lead us back to the checkered flag?
Yeah, it was definitely going to be a splash, and we were running it as dry as possible. Yeah, it would have just been how good we pitted, But some of those guys, they were gambling. I think they could have made it, is what it sounds like. But no, we couldn't.
Yeah, Michael was talking about the possibility, and I'll ask you, obviously, with you being behind the wheel, was there any kind of a possible scenario during that run that you could have backed the pace off enough to be able to save the lap or the laps that you were lacking?
No, I think we were in the best spot when we were like third and fourth, when Grant was like burning all his fuel. So anything after that, we weren't going to be able to save enough. We were just going for it.
been in the conversation for victories numerous times this season. Obviously, unfortunately, not battling for the championship here in season 66. But how does the mentality of a driver change from regular season now here into playoffs when you're not a playoff contender? Or does it really make any type of a difference? Is once that helmet's on, the visor's down, and the wheel is gripped, it's go to work, and doesn't matter if it's a non-playoff driver or a playoff driver in front of you. You want by them. You want your nose, your splitter, to be the first one when that checker flag is waving to hit the stripe.
Oh yeah, well, you're a racer, so yeah, we're going for the wins. But I'm also thinking about Joe and Bernie, trying to get them through in the playoffs. So but there was aggression, but just trying to be smart too. And I had that one hot pit where I thought I might have sped, but I got away with that one, which I haven't gotten away with this year. So everything held out pretty good.
Well, Bob, a great run for you here tonight. Solid podium finish. Second place here this evening in the first of the playoff races. Congratulations on a job well done. Having just enough fuel to be able to get to the end. Some good momentum here as we continue on season 66. And before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, appreciate you guys at FRN and Blaine on the other side. All RTG, Sean, and all the admins. It's so great to race here, like I always say. Mobs Motors, Bernie's Paints, FTMF, and Q. And we'll be back next week.
That's Bob Seminara. Solid run here tonight as he'll finish second place in the first playoff race. Congratulations once again on a great run. Best of luck next week as you look to maybe get that one position better, park the 712 in victory lane for the first time this season.
Oh yeah, we're going to try. Have a good week.
And let's see if we can go down to victory lane. Second week in a row. The number 38 takes up residency there. Let's dial up Rodney Sullins. Hey Rodney, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
How the heck are you?
Man, I'll tell you what, I mentioned about this past week. You messaged me asking when your last victory was. If you want to message me this week, I can easily tell you your last victory was last week. Man, what a run you've been on here. You win the last regular season race. You move yourself up into the top 12 in the point standings. You get some bonus points as well. You come in tonight seated number 7. And then you get the caution you needed, being the race leader, have enough fuel to get to the end. What a crazy last couple of weeks. You're moving on to the round of 8.
Man, that's cool. Yes, the caution, I definitely needed. I was literally getting ready to pit within the next lap or so. I was about a lap and a half short, so I knew I wasn't going to make it. I took the lead there just to try to get a point. And then hoping somebody would go back around me. And then when I seen that wasn't happening, I said, well, I don't want to get shuffled back. So I moved down low and just stayed there and said, well, I'm going to have to pit either way. So there's no doubt the caution saved me. It's been a great 2 weeks, kind of a crazy 2 weeks. I went for, it's at least 3 to 4 seasons without a win. And now to get 2 back-to-back, that's just nuts. But, I got lucky when the caution came out. I had Despirito and Seminara, great run for those guys behind me. And so I knew they were probably going to make a move, or expected them to. They're teammates, longtime teammates, hellacious racers. And I had Denny low in front of me, about to lap him. And I was literally just trying to keep my eye on them and then try to use Denny to get some draft. So I could make it to the start and finish line, and then clutched my tail off.
Looking at last week, looking at this week, we're really starting to see pit road and execution on green flag pit stops be a pivotal talking point. It was crucial into who was going to advance into the playoffs last week. It was crucial here tonight, not only to yourself moving on, but other drivers where they're going to be positioned either above the cut line or below the cut line going into next week's elimination race. Is there a sense of trepidation of maybe just overstepping just that little too much and getting yourself a penalty on these green flag pit stops? Or if you guys had to make that final pit stop here in the final couple of laps under green, does that ramp up the nervousness just a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, it does. an incredible amount. It does for me, and I think I've gotten better at hot pitting. So I'm not going to say hold my own, but I can do okay. I step over the bounds. If you remember last year in the Final Four, the very first race, I sped on pit road. And I think the race went caution free. And I never recovered for the entire 2 races of the playoffs, the final 2 races. So it's pit road can win you some races, and it can brutally beat you down. Tonight, I hit 57 once on that very last green flag pit stop, and I thought I was done. As soon as I seen it, I let off the throttle and got it down to about 52 or 53, I think, there, just crossed my fingers. And when I crossed that line and it didn't say they got him on the board, I just a sigh of relief just goes over me, So yes, thoughts like that, things like that are always in the back of your mind when you got to make that money stop, especially when you're going in for a splash and every second counts. Things like what happened tonight and what happened last season, it's there. It's in the back of your mind.
It's an interesting scenario this season because the last few seasons, of course, we had the alternating between Talladega and Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. And normally, if a driver ended up winning the first race of a round in the playoffs, they could do some experimentation maybe in the upcoming second race, because that was going to eventually be where the championship was going to be decided, or future elimination races during the postseason. That's not the case here this season. We're running here at Talladega Superspeedway every single week. With being locked into the round of 8, what's the goal for next week?
Breathe. Have fun. That's literally it. You never want to say, I wish I didn't win tonight, but I wish this win would have come making it to the Final Four. If I would have made it to the Final 8, I was in pretty decent standings. But you never want to take a win and throw it away. So I'm glad him sitting here. I'm glad I don't have to worry next week. If I can get a good finish next week, maybe that'll set me up better for making the Final Four with the 8, now that I know I'm in the 8. Still got a lot of work to do, but next week, regardless, I'm in the final, or I'm in the 8, the Elite 8, I guess we can call it, whatever, like basketball. But I still got work to do to position myself in the 8 to make a run at the 4, just in case I don't get lucky enough to finish first.
But as you say, trying to make a run for that Final Four, but you got to take the first step, and you did so here tonight, winning your way into the next round. Congratulations on a job well done. A lot of times, you mentioned the word luck. You got to be in the right position for luck to fall your way. You're able to do that with the timing of that caution, enough fuel to get to the end. Claim your second victory on the season, back-to-back victories here in these last 2 weeks. Rodney, we'll let you get back to your celebrating here tonight, to let you continue to bask in the knowledge that you're going to be moving on to the next round to fight for a championship. But before we do that, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
Thank you, Seth. Obviously, I want to thank you guys at FRN and Tarnation TV. Blaine, welcome back. I won last week when you weren't here, and I won tonight. So I thought maybe you were my bad luck charm, but I can't say that now. So thanks for being here.
Will you be
Michael,
changing that car? That's a question I wanted to ask you, because now you're winning with this thing. Are you driving this thing the rest of the season? You've got so many cars to pick from.
Yeah, I've got 4. Yeah, I've got the Halloween car that I won last week, the Pumpkin Spice Black Rifle Coffee car. Halloween's over, so that car is gone. I may run the Wheaties car next week and run this one. I may alternate between those 2 cars the rest of the season, I think. Just run the throwbacks for the rest of the season. Or I may just run this car. There's not a better looking car on the track than that black and silver and red. Used to be obviously the GM Goodwrench car, but that's always, to me, has been one of the prettiest cars, to be so simple, so pretty. But glad you're back. Michael, appreciate what you guys do. Kyle, I know you're not here, but thank you also. Rolling Thunder Gaming, Prime, Jeremy Sheck, Josh, all the owners here. Sure, I'm missing somebody. I need to get a list. But all the admins of all the series and the drivers, again, Josh, Tim, thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys letting me help you guys on Thursdays. So thank you as always. But I love what you guys are doing. I hope y'all are enjoying it. Black Rifle Coffee, Havana Barista Wickers, Redline Performance Motorsports. Good run, Bob, Joe. Thanks for your help there unknowingly at the end, Denny. Dad, pretty sure you're watching this one tonight. I'm sure he was in the chat tonight. Love you. Hope you enjoyed that one. I think that's the first one you got to watch live that I've won. So thanks, guys. Thank everybody. And I'll see y'all next week.
Absolutely. Well, Rodney, congratulations on getting the victory here tonight, locking yourself into the round of 8. Enjoy next week as you get yourself prepared for that upcoming round of the playoffs in a couple of weeks' time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks,
Rodney
Rodney.
Sullins with the victory here tonight, becomes only the 3rd multi-time winner here in Season 66, joining Chuck McClure and Joe DeSpirito. Speaking of those two drivers, they're sitting pretty right now, points-wise, heading into the elimination race next week, along with Grant Wesley. Grant's actually going to keep the overall points lead in the playoffs. It looks like Chuck McClure is going to be in 2nd, Joe DeSpirito in 3rd. 5 points going to separate those top 3 in the standings. Then it'll be Rodney Sullins currently sitting in 4th, but he's already locked in to the next round. Denny Carroll currently sits in 5th. Josh Metallic in 6th. And here's where it starts to get interesting, because we're going to be talking a lot about 8th in the standings next week. Brian Schilling going to be 7th. He is a total of 15 points ahead of that 8th in the standings cut line. And Greg Palmer is the cut line driver. The 4 drivers heading into next week that need to advance their way above the cut line. John Godfrey is going to find himself -7. Bernie Mobbs will sit at -10. Jeremy Jeffries, who had multiple issues here tonight, is going to find himself 19 points below the cut line. And Brian Rawson, who did not take the green flag, he's in must-win territory. He's going to be going into next week 39 points below the cut line. But while we talk about big names that didn't even advance into the postseason, there's some big names now that are finding themselves in quite a bit of trouble heading into next week, with very limited chances of advancing into the second round.
Yeah, it's gonna be very tough. Like you said, it's hard to gain any type of spots, any type of points when usually all the top 12 drivers are finishing up there pretty good. So it's gonna be interesting to watch, and a good point to see who's gonna get eliminated next week.
Also going to be interesting to see here what Rodney Sullins is going to be able to do next week. He's able to kind of race a little more freely, a little less pressure on him. It's interesting, Blaine, we ended up taking a poll last week post-race. I mentioned that half the playoff field have formerly won a championship, and kind of asked Kyle and Michael, would it be a champion or would it be a non-champion that would win the championship this season? They went with a champion. I went with a non-champion. Rodney Sullins has not won a championship yet, so Let's see. Maybe a step in the right direction for him to get that first championship trophy on Thursday nights.
It's a good guy to get behind. That's a fun little vote too, because there's so many good drivers here, right? And like you said, Rodney he kind of had that lull, no wins, and now all of a sudden he's got 2 out of nowhere. So he's the hot one now. I mean, he's the car to beat, I think.
Certainly seems like it. Well, congratulations to Rodney Sullins. He locks himself into the next round of the playoffs. 7 more drivers will join him, but we're going to have to wait until next week to find out who they are going to be. At least 6 drivers will point their way in. We may see a driver win their way in next week. It may be all 7 remaining drivers that have to point their way into the round of 8, and unfortunately, 4 drivers' journey will be coming to an end. It's the elimination race, first one of season 66, next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it'll be here simulcasted on both Tarnation TV and the Flat Out Racing Network. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. We look forward to continuing the playoffs here in season 66 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series next Thursday night. For Blaine Donlin, Michael Norman, I'm Seth Cole. Thanks for joining us here on Tarnation TV and the Flat Out Racing Network.